Happy Monday. How are you doing this lovely evening? My name is Sarah Otieno. We are live on Family Radio, also live on Family TV. And you can contact us using the WhatsApp number 0786-316-316, also through the SMS line 20316, on Facebook and Twitter at Family Radio 316, as we get to know some of the stories that are making headline in our country and also across Africa and also across the globe. Well, today we have recorded one of the lowest numbers of COVID-19, and I'll be telling you about that in a couple of minutes. But for now, we get it started. Now, the country is likely to be informed of changes in school reopening dates following a stakeholders meeting convened by Education CS Professor George Magoha today. The meeting will largely address the confusion that has surrounded the resumption of learning in our country 6 months after schools were closed to contain the spread of COVID-19 virus. In a letter dated September 7th, 2020, Professor Magoha had invited all education stakeholders in the country to a special national conference to chart Kenya's post-COVID future in education and specifically address school reopening.
And we, as stakeholders, have come to a consensus that indeed it is time to relook, because the doctor has told you the curve is flattening. I have said in the past that social distancing in our public schools is going to remain a challenge. I've also said that there are certain things we are doing about getting masks at the very worst for the vulnerable and the less fortunate children. All those processes are ongoing. And in order for us to prepare a presentation to present to the bigger stakeholders meeting, which will take place sometime next week, either before or on the 25th, we have decided to reactivate the smaller stakeholders group between now and Saturday, to work on the finer details of proposals that shall be interrogated by this larger stakeholders group. And even at that time, if I succeed in getting backroom approval, then I will tell you what we have decided. Remember, I have not told you any decision that we have made because the process is ongoing. Don't go and print that I have said 1, 2, 3. Ignore what any other person tells you. It will not be my members. My members are very disciplined. Those other so-called senior officers in the ministry, have you seen them here? They are not here. Thank you very much.
That brings me to the question that we should be asking today. This meeting is being convened and actually attended by stakeholders when it comes to education. And it makes me wonder, what are some of the things that you think should be considered when they're discussing the reopening of schools and generally matters education? And do you even think that it is okay for our country to reopen our schools during this time just because the COVID-19 curve is flattening? What are some of the things that you think need to be considered during this meeting? And is it even time to reopen our schools as it has been proposed by some of the stakeholders? Send in your responses through the WhatsApp number 0786-316-316 and also through the SMS line 20316 on Facebook and Twitter at Family Radio 316. Now, the Deputy President William Ruto has dismissed political peddling false information that President Uhuru Kenyatta will extend his term in office. Now, the DP said that Uhuru is a firm believer in principles of democracy and would not condone such misinformation that was causing unnecessary confusion amongst Kenyans. The DP used a popular meme originating from the Tanzanian Member of Parliament, Suleiman Bangara, with his Wewe ulisikia wapi signature question. And Ruto was speaking in his current residence where he received a delegation of opinion leaders led by political strategist Eliud Owalo. And Owalo has joined the Ruto team after resigning from Musalia Mudavadi's political strategy.
We are finding all manner of cards flying. At one point we are being told we need another layer of government, another layer of bureaucracy. At another moment, some other people are telling us that it is about extension of terms. The question you ask, my boss, President Uhuru Kenyatta, is a Democrat. I don't think President Uhuru Kenyatta has told anybody that he wants his term extended. So where are these people finding all this? I would dare ask, ulisikia wapi ati Rais Uhuru Kenyatta anataka term yake isongeshwe? Wewe ambaye unatupatia hiyo story, ulisikia wapi?
Ulisikia wapi? That's the question posed by the Deputy President William Ruto. Now, on the Building Bridges initiative, Dr. Ruto called on transparency and inclusivity in talks about constitutional amendments. He said leaders spearheading the exercise should not force or threaten Kenyans to support the proposals therein. The Deputy President asked Kenyans to stand up against those using blackmail and intimidation to influence their political stand. He said the country would no longer be held hostage by leaders who thrive in retrogressive politics. And they said they were ready to support the proposal in the Building Bridges initiative, but only if the need of ordinary citizens are prioritized.
There is a huge push. In fact, some people are branding some of us that we are opposing the BBI. Hata hiyo ulisikia wapi? The last time the BBI, the first report came out, we all said we had no issues. This other report has not come out. So why would anybody want any Kenyan to support a document that they have not seen?
We are waiting. All we are saying is we have a certain expectation. Our expectation is if it is people-centered, if it is going to look at the issue of the guaranteed minimum return for our coffee, for our tea, for our milk, for our fish, for our cotton, tutapitisha asubuhi. If it is going to be ya kusaidia mtu ya kawaida, tutapitisha.
Tell him that we are going to support BBI at the right time. And the right time is when we have been told what is inside the copy of BBI.
Some of these people are shamelessly telling us that they are they want to change the constitution so that they can share positions. Shamelessly. I mean, surely we have serious priorities in Kenya, and there is a huge disconnect between such people and the ordinary people in Kenya.
All right, his sentiments were actually echoed by Mathira Member of Parliament Gachagua and also by Dr. Halwale and Mudhama, who dismissed proposals to create 5 positions for 5 tribal leaders, saying the move would disenfranchise small communities. Well, that's a good move there. They have some point, if you ask me. Well, remember the question that we are answering today as the education stakeholders are meeting. What are some of the things that you think need to be considered in this meeting, considering that the reopening of schools is still unknown? And do you even think that it is time to reopen our schools, bearing in mind that the curve for COVID-19 has flattened? Do you think it's right to open our schools? And as they convene, what are some of the things that you believe should be considered during this stakeholders meeting? Send in your responses. This is Fred from this is Kisumu County, 96.5, and you're saying the education says angoja for now. Parents aren't prepared yet. Where the music does the talking. Ochogo Fred, asante sana for tuning in today. Lynette and Kyle, thank you so much for tuning in today. And Lynette is saying, with all honesty, it is late in the day to consider the option of reopening schools. Let them focus on January 2021 and be thorough. What if numbers surge upon the soft reopening? We need to show sound decision making for our children. I like that. Thank you so much. Vincent Mulinge from Thika. Praise God, Sarah. The issue of opening up schools, let it be on hold until January. Sarah, ukumbuki ukituambia tukule school fees. Really? Vincent, ulisikia wapi? Anyway. Well, let's just be real, people. Most of the parents have actually channeled the school fees money to other things, and we had that discussion earlier on last week where parents were saying that indeed right now they're not prepared financially to take their children back to school. Anyway, thank you so much for that. She's here. You're saying, Sarah, hii mambo ni simple. Opening phases, universities and colleges on the 1st of October, TVETs on the 14th, secondary schools 28th October, primary schools on the 14th of November, nursery and kindergarten on the 1st of December. Ama namna gani, my friend? Well, I do not really understand how you came up with the dates. Maybe you can shed some light on that. But thank you so much for that response. Emmanuel Njao from Athi River, you're saying thumbs up for keeping us informed and entertained. You always make my day. I am very much grateful for that. And thank you for tuning in. I also have Clinton from, this is Clinton. You're listening to the show. You're giving thanks to God. I always do that daily when I wake up. Thank you so much for tuning in today and for your response. Send in your responses too. As the education stakeholders are meeting, what do you think should be considered during this meeting? And is it even right for schools to be opened right now and not in January 2021, as earlier said by the Ministry of Education? Tell me about that. Well, the former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka's Wiper Party has announced an aggressive rebranding plan that will culminate into a name change. Kalonzo today said his party will also change its color to make it even acceptable amongst Kenyans. He was speaking when he launched the Wiper digital registration portal at the party's headquarters. The portal, according to Kalonzo, should net over 1 million registered Wiper members within 3 months. The Wiper leader also hit on ODM leader Raila Odinga and Deputy President William Ruto, accusing them of endangering the lives of Kenyans through early 2022 campaigns.
We took the decision to rebrand Wiper, including thinking of changing the name. Because there's those who say, how do you have a party whose symbol is a body part of a vehicle? But it has become a household name. We are going to change even our colors. We are rebranding in order to make it easy for every Kenyan to feel, as Senator Junior said, this is not a Mkamba party. We left that story a long time ago. This is a national movement, ready and willing and able to liberate Kenya in real terms. So, kwa hivyo, Hilda, you hear from us, wherever you are in Brussels, tell the Europeans and all our friends worldwide that watch this space. Safari hii hatubahatishi. Hatubahatishi, we are going straight to State House. Hakuna mchezo. But of course we welcome like-minded Kenyans. And it's not a joke. It is not wishful thinking. We have done it before.
All right, the Wiper leader, Kalonzo Musyoka, they are saying that wanaenda straight to State House. Now this time, hawabahatishi. Anyway, let's head over to some news now. The Kakamega Senator Cleopas Malala broke down into tears earlier today as he narrated to 2 Senate committees how 5 police officers have allegedly been assigned to eliminate him. In an emotional presentation to the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee and National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations Committee, Malala said that the 5 officers were from the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, the DCI, Inspector General Hilary Mutyambai and other senior officers from the National Police Service who had appeared before the committee were all this time just listening. And the joint committee then adjourned the meeting and asked the IG to summon the DCI to appear before him side by side to respond to the accusations made by Malala. He said the 5 were summoned at a hotel in Thika where they met an inspector by the name Wanjala who gave them the assignment to eliminate him.
Once I raised these issues and I wrote a letter to the Inspector General, copied it to the cabinet. After they were given those the allowances, Mr. Speaker, traveled to Kakamega town. And they were hovering around Kakamega town, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chair, sorry, we have what we call the arms movement book. Surely, that I even sent the police a PIN number. Mr. Chair, I carry a heavy heart with me.
Well, that is very sad. When the life of someone is at risk, these are accusations that need to be looked into. Well, Kenya has today recorded one of the lowest figures in the recent months after the Health Ministry confirmed 48 new cases of COVID-19 today. This raised the country's total to 36,205 from a sample of 1,081 that were tested in the last 24 hours. Health CAS Mercy Mwangangi confirmed that all were Kenyans, with 31 being male and 17 that is being female. He was speaking during the daily COVID-19 briefing at Afya House, and Dr. Mwangangi said age-wise, the youngest is a 12-year-old infant baby, while the oldest is a 75 years old. Mombasa led the daily positive rates today, recording 20 cases, and another 178 patients have recovered from the disease, bringing the total number of recoveries to 23,243. And a total of 45 out of those discharged were from the home-based program, while 131 were from various facilities. The number of fatalities rose to 624 after 2 more patients succumbed to COVID-19 in the last 24 hours.
Today, we have only 48 people who've tested positive from a sample of 1,081 in the last 24 hours, bringing our caseload to 36,205. In terms of those who've been tested, all are Kenyans. In terms of their gender, we have 31 being male, 17 being female. The youngest is a 12-year-old child, while the oldest is 75. On a positive note, 176 people have recovered from the disease, of which 45 are from the home-based care program, and 131 have been discharged from various hospitals. In terms of our recoveries, they stand at 23,243. And we continue to thank our healthcare workers for the good work that they're doing. In terms of fatalities, our count today is 624, having had an additional 2 patients who have succumbed to the disease. And our condolences go to the family and friends of those who've lost their loved ones.
All right, this is good news. If we are recording less cases by the day, then there is hope at the end. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Now, embattled Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko has denied fresh abuse of office charges during an appearance before the anti-corruption magistrate Douglas Ogoti today morning. Sonko and his co-accused are facing 14 counts ranging from conspiracy to commit an offense of corruption, acquisition of proceeds of crime, conflict of interest, money laundering and abuse of office. The arraignment of the Nairobi governor coming after Ogoti dismissed an application by the accused persons in the case that sought to delay a plea taking under the pretext that the prosecution had not alerted them of its decision to introduce a new charge sheet, that is, before last Monday when they appeared in court.
Then now what happens, Your Honor, is because PM and 35 seconds later, another statement last night.
Well, this is a case that is still ongoing in court, and now they have 14 counts ranging from conspiracy all the way to money laundering and also corruption cases. And let's see where that goes. Esi Kimenya is saying, I'm thinking this way, Sarah. Schools reopening should be planned for properly. To achieve any reopening, the infrastructural development, classrooms and the likes should be made adequate for social distancing. That is what they should be putting in place. When set, watuambie. Meanwhile, waache story mob. Esi, asante for your feedback. Sioni haja ya shule kufunguliwa sasa hadi 2021 January. Number 1, kuna sanitizer. A, sanitizer. B, maji C. Sabuni, barakoa. D. Social distancing. John Abanda from Luocho in Bungoma. Thank you for your feedback. I really appreciate that. Sarah wa Naivasha, you're saying, hello Sarah, reopening of schools now is a no-no. Hakuna haja tudanganyane. Thank you so much for that feedback. Now to other stories. Kapseret Member of Parliament Oscar Sudi has been remanded till Wednesday, September 16th, when his bail ruling will be made at Nakuru Court at 2:30 p.m. Police and the National Commission of Integration Commission, that is the NCIC, sought orders to detain the MP to pave way for investigations on 5 offences ranging from hate speech to resisting arrest. Initially, the officers sought court's permission to detain MP Mr. Sudi for 14 more days to investigate 5 counts levelled against him by the state. In an application filed before a Nakuru court this afternoon, the NCIC, through the affidavit sworn by Inspector of Police James Akello, said the agency says it is investigating Mr. Sudi on 5 offences.
To take judicial notice of the several instances of hate speech within the Republic at this moment.
Well, the Tanga members of Parliament could not have these, and they were led by Uasin Gishu Women Representative Gladys Boss Osholei, and the leaders protested the additional charges against Mr. Sudi.
And as we know, hate speech and incitement is when you direct insulting or abusive words to a specific ethnic group or race, with the intention of provoking hatred towards that particular race or that particular ethnic group. In this case, anyone on the street, you don't have to be a lawyer to see it, Oscar Sudi, in his statement, was addressing a particular individual. Today morning, it's important for Kenyans to know that 5 minutes before the matter was heard, 3 new charges were introduced. 1, the charge of assault of a police officer. 2, the charge of possession of an illegal firearm. And 3, the charge of resisting arrest. Obviously, I have never had anyone who resists arrest or assaults an officer when he's not even present at the place where the police are supposedly have arrested him. And we all know that he presented himself voluntarily to the police station.
Well, according to the Tanga Member of Parliament, they're saying Mr. Oscar Sudi did not incite hate speech. This is because he was addressing one single person, and that is not hate speech. Anyway, let's wait and see where that goes. Now, Nakuru County health workers have begun their strike after a 14 days notice period lapsed. The health workers have raised concern over delays of their promotion and disparity in their job groups. They want the job groups reviewed upwards and salaries increased. They've also protested their transfer from the Nairobi County to the Nairobi Metropolitan Service.
Kuna shida na serikali yetu ya county na serikali ya NMS. Na mambo tumekuwa tukisema kwa muda sasa ni mambo ya promotions, stagnation, the designation na right placement. Na tunasema hivi, sisi kama viongozi wa hao wahudumu wa afya hatutakubali kuendelea kuchezewa huku haki za watu wetu wenye ni wahudumu wa afya zikiendelea kukandamizwa.
Kama tumekuwa na mkutano na NMS, lakini hakuna kitu wanatuahidi. Wanatuambia tuliwapatia strike notice ya wiki 2 na saa hizi ndio wanatuambia tupeleke barua, na barua ziko kwa sababu vile tumeambiwa tumetolewa county. Inafaa county walikuwa na records zetu. Hiyo inafaa ikuwe imepelekwa NMS na watumie hizo vifaa kutupromote vile inafaa.
Well, could this be a looming crisis? And it's not only in Nairobi where health workers are complaining of being set aside. All right. The race for the gubernatorial seat is fast taking shape in Trans Nzoia County, with contenders crisscrossing the region in a vote-hunting mission ahead of the 2022 general election. Kimilili, Member of Parliament Dr. Chris Wamalwa, has been forging alliance with the elders in the community residing in the cosmopolitan county.
Tumekuja zaidi tuseme ya kwamba tutaunga mkono Bwana Chris Wamalwa, mbunge wa Kimilili. Kiminini. Hapa county ni watu wengi tuko hapa ni mixture. Na tunataka peaceful coexistence mpaka mwaka zingine tuwe hatujui hata Mnandi ni nani, Muluya ni nani, tufanye politics ya umoja na hapo Trans Nzoia itasonga mbele.
Trans Nzoia County has been the talk of the town, so to speak, and has lacked in many aspects. And so we need a total transformation. We need an economic Marshall Plan for Trans Nzoia. We need to re-engineer the politics of Trans Nzoia. And the person that we have in mind who is going to offer that solution is Chris Wamalwa.
Mimi nimejitokeza, niko tayari. Na mnajua ya kwamba uongozi inatoka kwa Mungu. Mniweke kwa maombi, tunataka hii Trans Nzoia yetu to reclaim the lost glory. We want to make Trans Nzoia great again. We want to make Trans Nzoia as a small Kenya to include all the 43 tribes of this country.
All right, uongozi unatoka kwa Mungu. On the question of today, this is Elijah from Ruaka and he's saying, good evening, Sarah. Tushakula school fees. Magoha should relax as we open and allow us to reopen in January 2021. Thank you so much for that response. This is Esther, and Esther, you're saying schools zifunguliwe, zisifunguliwe, it's already unpredictable right now. We do not know what they're going to discuss. The most important thing is that they put the health of our children in their minds. Thank you so much, Esther, for that feedback. Wherever you are, in whatever situation, in whatever position you are in, just shine bright because there is light inside of you. We are live on Family TV, also live on Family Radio. Now to some international stories, and now more than 100,000 demonstrators calling on the authoritarian president of Belarus to resign marched through the capital of Minsk yesterday as the daily protests that have gripped the nation entered their 6th week. Many in the crowd, which the human rights group Visca estimated to numbering to more than 150,000 people, carried placards critical to Russia, reflecting concerns over the president Alexander Lukashenko's meeting with the Russian president Vladimir Putin. All right, it would be their first face-to-face contact since the unrest broke out in the Belarus after the August 9 presidential election that officials say gave Lukashenko a 6th term with 80% of the support. But protesters and some of the poll workers say that these results were rigged.
If the brutality of the Belarusian police is not putting off the protesters, it is also not letting up. Sundays like this are becoming the norm. Peaceful protesters linking arms to defend themselves against military-clad law enforcement, batons in hand. People picked off one by one and dragged into police vans. At least 400 arrests, and that was in Minsk alone. In the Drozhdy district of the capital, riot police chased people down the back streets. You can hear a shot being fired. Just a warning, the Interior Ministry says. People scrambling over walls, desperate to get away from the swarms of riot police on their tail. As usual, the main event was peaceful and festive. Over 100,000 in Minsk, as there have been every Sunday, and thousands more in other Belarusian cities. But they know their president is in this for the long haul.
I don't think the authorities will give up soon. They do not want to. Even today, there were detentions of peaceful people who were just walking in the city like we are now.
Unfortunately, the dictatorship cannot be toppled fast. I think we need to go on, because all the protests will end if we stop coming and doing anything. Our hope is to continue doing it publicly so that more and more people all over the world react to our situation.
President Lukashenko has tried to pass these protests off as the result of Western meddling. He will meet the Russian president in Sochi on Monday as the two countries start annual joint military drills on Belarusian territory. Lukashenko's message to Vladimir Putin via an interview on Russian state TV that if his regime falls, then Russia will be next.
All right, the meeting is set to be happening today, their time. Well, let's wait and see where that heads, because we need peace, not only in Belarus, but also across the world. Well, India has surpassed Brazil, and it's now the second country when it comes to the cases of coronavirus. It has been recording high numbers, high daily infections in the last 1 month or so. Now, despite this spike, the government is continuing with the reopening plans, including the resuming of metro rail services.
The Delhi Metro had been transporting millions of people every day until its closure in late March. But on its first day of reopening, the few people on board were relieved the service had resumed.
It has been really difficult because like bus services, we are not sure when next one will be coming. So I feel this has been very relieving for me that like it has started. In metro it's very comfortable and it's very convenient for me.
Metro train services have reopened in most of India's biggest cities, including Chennai and Hyderabad, with limited routes and times to avoid crowding. Passengers must have their temperatures taken before boarding and wear masks while maintaining social distancing. Despite India recording more than 90,000 cases a day, more lockdown restrictions are being eased. It's because of the lockdown's impact on the economy that the Indian government is continuing to ease restrictions. But while cities are slowly returning to normal, the virus is spreading to India's remote villages.
First thing, that they are not getting to a proper healthcare professional. First thing. Second thing, even if they reach a proper healthcare professional like at primary health center or at community health center, there the facilities are not appropriate.
The divide between India's cities and villages has always been big. Health experts say it's now imperative to bridge that gap by spending more on rural healthcare if they are to get the coronavirus under control.
All right, that is what is happening in India amongst other countries that are slowly reopening. As we said, there is light at the end of the tunnel. We have come to the end of this show, but Prayer Circle is coming in next. Send in your prayer requests and also your praise reports as we get to pray together and also thank God for what He has done. This week is going to be an awesome one, not only for you, but also for your family members. My name is Sarah Otieno. I will see you tomorrow.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs, from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.